A dolphin has no reason to like you. Think about it. You're a loud, clumsy land ape that drops nets into its ocean, tangles its family in plastic, and turns its cousins into sandwiches. By every law of nature, a wild dolphin should look at you, decide your trouble, and disappear. So here's something that makes absolutely no sense. In 2004, off the coast of New Zealand, a lifeguard named Rob House was swimming with his teenage daughter and two friends, when a pod of dolphins suddenly went berserk around them, slapping the water, herding the four of them together, circling so tight they couldn't break out. House figured the dolphins had simply lost their minds until he looked down into the gray water beneath his feet and saw it. A great white shark, 3 meters long, cruising right below him. For 40 minutes, the dolphins held the line. They packed the humans into a tight ball and refused to let the shark in. And when it finally gave up and slid back into the dark, the dolphins just scattered, like nothing had happened. All 4 people swam home alive. And here's the part that should sit with you tonight. This wasn't a fluke. All over the planet, the animals that have every single reason to let us die keep saving us instead. And once you understand why, it stops being a feel-good story and turns into something a lot stranger than you'd expect. Start with the whale. In 2017, a marine biologist named Nan Hauser was diving in the Cook Islands when a 40-ton humpback whale started doing something genuinely terrifying. It swam straight at her, tucked her under one enormous pectoral fin, and began shoving her through the water. Now, Hauser has spent her entire life around whales, and her first thought was the obvious one. This is how I die. One careless flick of that tail and she'd be finished. The whale pushed her, lifted her, rolled her for 10 solid minutes, refusing to let her swim off on her own. She finally clawed her way back to the boat, shaking, convinced she'd just survived a whale in a bad mood. Then she spotted it. A tiger shark, maybe 15 feet long, prowling the exact patch of water she'd been floating in. The whale wasn't the danger. The danger was behind her the whole time. And the whale had put 40 tons of itself between Hauser and a predator she never even saw coming. She caught the whole thing on camera. It's one of the only times this has ever been filmed. And it leaves you with a question biologists don't love being asked. Why would a wild whale shield a member of the species that nearly wiped it off the earth? And it keeps happening in ways that get harder and harder to wave away. In a freediving contest in northern China, a young woman's legs seized up with cramp at the bottom of a deep Arctic pool. She couldn't kick, she couldn't rise, she was seconds from drowning, when a beluga whale named Mila clamped its mouth gently around her leg and carried her carefully all the way to the surface. Different continent, different ocean, same impossible-looking instinct. And then there's the one that really breaks your brain. A zoo outside Chicago, 1996. A 3-year-old boy climbs a railing and falls more than 20 feet straight down into a gorilla enclosure, out cold. The first gorilla to reach him is a female named Binti Jua, with her own infant clinging to her back. The crowd screams, bracing for something horrific. Instead, she scoops the boy up, cradles him like he's hers, carries him across the enclosure, and sets him down at the door where the keepers can reach him. Then she turns and walks away. Nobody trained her for that moment. She got nothing out of it. So what is actually going on here? Because animals are just nice isn't an answer. It's a way of avoiding the question. And it's not even only the gentle ones. In 2005, in a forest in Ethiopia, a 12-year-old girl was taken, grabbed by a group of men, dragged off the road, gone for a week. When the police finally tracked her down, they found her in the last place anyone expected, sitting on the ground, alive, guarded by 3 wild lions. The lions had reportedly driven the men off, then stayed, circling her, watching the trees, keeping the world at a distance until the authorities arrived. And the second the humans came to take her home, the lions turned and melted back into the forest, like guards clocking off a shift. Lions, the same animals every instinct in your body screams at you to run from. The wildlife experts who looked into it had a theory. and it only makes it stranger. They suspect the lions heard the girl sobbing and mistook her crying for the mewling of a lion cub. The urge to protect a wailing baby was so deep, so automatic, it overrode the urge to hunt. And that, right there, is the first uncomfortable piece of the truth. A lot of the time, they're not saving you. Go back to the dolphins. Dolphins have a behavior scientists call mobbing. When a shark threatens their pod, above all their calves, they swarm it. They surround it, ram it, body slam it, and drive it off as a unit. It's one of the oldest survival programs in the ocean. So when a clump of soft, splashing, helpless humans is bobbing in the water with a shark closing in, the dolphin's instinct doesn't read humans. It reads small, vulnerable things that need a wall thrown around them. And up goes the wall automatically. You didn't get rescued because the dolphins love you. You got rescued because you fell inside the blast radius of a program built to protect their own. Which, honestly, is somehow weirder, because it means the kindness was never a choice. It was a reflex, and you just happened to be standing in the right place when it fired.
But that doesn't cover the whale, or the beluga, or the gorilla. Those weren't group defense reflexes. Those were single animals deciding to help a single creature that wasn't even their species. And that points to something deeper and frankly stranger wired into a small handful of animals on this planet. Whales and dolphins do something biologists call caregiving behavior. When a member of the pod is sick or drowning, the others lift it to the surface so it can breathe. Mothers do it for dying calves for days on end. It runs so deep that a humpback shielding a diver is, in its own mind, very likely running the exact same program it would run for a baby whale. And here's the kicker. Whales, dolphins, elephants, and great apes all carry a strange kind of brain cell, spindle neurons. The same cells scientists keep finding in big, deeply social animals, and the same ones linked in humans to fast, gut-level emotional decisions. We used to think those were ours alone. They're not. So when that gorilla gathered up a broken little boy, she may have been feeling a version of the very thing you would feel. Not blind instinct, something a lot closer to care. Now, put the whole thing together, because this is where it turns genuinely haunting. To the wild, we are not the innocent ones. We're noise, nets, hooks, cages, engines, plastic. We're the thing that shows up and makes the whole forest go silent. The monster, the one nearly every animal on Earth has a reason to fear. We hunted the whales to the brink. We turned their oceans into our landfill. By every rational measure, the wild has earned the right to watch us sink and feel nothing at all. And instead, again and again, it doesn't. A whale that should fear us puts its own body in front of a shark. A dolphin pod folds us into the same circle it uses to save its children. A caged animal reaches out to a child who tumbled into its world. They are not doing it because we've earned it. They're doing it because somewhere underneath the fear we taught them, there's an older, deeper program. One that looks at a small, drowning, frightened thing and simply cannot let it go under. So the next time you hear one of these stories and your first reaction is, "Oh, nature is beautiful," stop. It's stranger than that, and it's bigger than that. These animals don't know why they do it, and we don't fully know either. The only thing we know for certain is that the line we're all so sure of, the one between us and them, predator and prey, human and animal, is far thinner than it feels. We go through our whole lives convinced we're the only ones in here who care. And then a whale spends 10 minutes in open water proving us wrong. Nothing is as ordinary as it looks.